Sailing on a large, luxurious cruise ship is a dream for many. The mammoth Keramisku is a floating city with a Broadway show, casino, restaurant and bar, multiple swimming pools and rides on deck for up to 7,000 people, and a choice of itineraries that take passengers on exciting excursions around the world. Cruise ships are indeed very safe, safer than planes, safer than trains, and safer than cars. But very safe does not mean that the ship is 100% free from everything that can happen during the voyage at certain times, where the captain must face various threats during the voyage in the middle of the uncertain sea, starting from bad weather, the captain's carelessness, to the threat of pirates who can change the atmosphere of a dream vacation into a nightmare that was never expected before. The most notorious hijacking incident was the hijacking of the MSC Burn Spirit cruise ship in 2005. While traveling through the Somali Sea, two armed vessels approached the Spirit about 160 kilometers off the coast of Somalia and opened fire at that very moment. The pirate jumps managed to get ahead of the Spirit and change its course. The ship's captain performed evasive maneuvers and tried to steer the ship to create waves to steal the pirates' jumps back. Even at one point, the cruise ship almost hit one of their jumps. Some passengers even recorded the moment through the window as the pirates tried to approach the ship. In the footage, they are seen raising RPGs and machine guns. Pirates fired as many as 30 RPGs towards the stern of the ship. Burned, but fortunately the 10,000-ton ship only suffered minor damage and 151 passengers on board survived without being seriously injured and finally managed to escape after the ship's crew drove them away using a special sonic device for the ship. When attacked by pirates, depending on the specific situation and conditions, some cruise ships are equipped with security equipment and systems that can be used to reduce the risk of naval attacks, such as radar detection devices that can detect surrounding ships to fight pirates at close range. There are also water cannons that have been used for years to prevent pirates from approaching the ship. The powerful jets of water are enough to flood or disrupt even small pirate ships. Even if they can still get close to the ship, the flow of water is strong enough to make it difficult for them to board the ship. There are also long-range acoustic devices like those used on spirit ships that produce high-pitched sounds to keep pirates away from the ship. In addition, cruise ships can also take precautions such as avoiding areas identified as danger zones, then coordinating with authorities and other ships passing through the area, as well as providing security training to crew and passengers on some cruise ships. There are specialized security teams that can take defensive measures in the event of a pirate attack, such as using firearms or evacuation techniques. But such measures are very rare, as many cruise ships tend to avoid dangerous situations and prefer to ask the authorities for help. Besides the threat of pirates, another real threat is severe weather. One such adverse event was the evacuation of the Viking Sky back in 2019. The 900-passenger luxury cruise ship was passing through a strong storm in Norway when 25-meter waves hit the ship. The strong waves caused the oil pump to malfunction and automatically shut down all engines without stabilization. The rough seas made the ship sway from side to side, making everything on board move. This became a very scary experience for the passengers. The ship also lost control, which made it head towards land quickly. Overcoming this, the crew released both anchors so that the ship would not drift, but this actually made the ship even more adrift than before. Finally, the ship called for help and ordered to evacuate the passengers in these conditions. Releasing the lifeboats was very difficult because the sea conditions were quite fierce. the Norwegian rescue team lowered 6 helicopters to evacuate the passengers one by lifting them off the ship. Within a few hours, more than half of the passengers were successfully evacuated in 30 helicopter flights. Fortunately, after the wind and waves subsided, the ship's engine was functioning again. The ship was successfully towed to the port, and all passengers managed to get off the ship safely. Passengers were successfully evacuated in 30 helicopter flights. Fortunately, after the wind and waves subsided, the ship's engine was functioning again. The ship was towed to port, and all passengers managed to get off the ship safely. Fires are also a big danger on cruise ships. Although surrounded by abundant water, extinguishing fires on ships is very difficult. Burns on ships occur for several reasons. Some are caused by the negligence of passengers who smoke on the ship. Some are caused by the negligence of passengers who smoke on the ship. Prohibited places, galley fires, and engine fires. All modern cruise ships are fully equipped with fire extinguishers, although some older cruise ships are known to have the potential for engine fires. Although it looks scary, most of these incidents can be dealt with quickly so that the ship can continue its journey as planned. In some cases, firefighting takes longer, as happened on the Carnival route, a ship that was stranded at sea for 5 days without a working toilet and with limited power. Working toilets and limited power. Cruise ships also sail in icy waters, especially in the Arctic and Antarctic regions, which are in icy waters. Ships must always be aware of ice floes that may look small, but behind them are actually icebergs. Icebergs can cause serious damage to the bottom of the ship, such as breaking or perforating the ship's structure and triggering leaks, and even a collision with a large enough iceberg can cause the ship to sink, as has been the case in the past. What happened to the legendary cruise ship Titanic on January 15, 1912? The ship sank after hitting an iceberg in the North Atlantic Sea. The main cause was negligence and lack of attention to the potential dangers of icebergs when planning and sailing the ship. Other factors such as bad weather, lack of communication, and cooperation between the crew and ship's officers also exacerbated the consequences. More than 1,500 people died in the accident. In 2007, a similar incident happened to the MV Explorer, an Arctic expedition ship. En route to Tika on a 2-week tour, the ship suddenly hit thick ice. The collision caused the hull to leak and fill with water and start rocking. Then the captain of the ship decided to release all lifeboats and abandon ship. All passengers and crew were successfully evacuated and waited. About 4 hours until the rescue ship came to pick up. Even though the ship finally sank thanks to the fast and precise decision of the captain of the ship, all passengers were not injured. Even though the ship was operated with strict procedures and discipline, human error can still occur and cause the ship to experience serious problems that can cost lives. Some of the mistakes that often occur are errors in decision-making, procedural errors, communication errors, and operational errors, as happened to the Costa Concordia cruise ship on January 13, 2012. The ship departed from Civitavecchia, Italy for a 1-week vacation. A few hours into the voyage, the ship sailed off the island of Isola del Giglio, which means the ship was within about 250 meters of the island on an unplanned route. This was deliberately doubted by the captain of the ship because he wanted to impress his colleague, who was also on the bridge at the time. Due to the carelessness of the captain of the ship, crashed into the ship. The coral reefs under the sea, and suddenly water began to enter the ship. At that time, the captain shouted, giving conflicting instructions to the officers. At the same time, the passengers began to line up in the lifeboats to save themselves, but the captain did not seem to care and delayed the launch of the lifeboats for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, the ship began to capsize after a little coercion by the vice captain. The captain finally decided to launch the Scotty and abandon ship, while most of the passengers managed to get into the Scotty and escape. Some passengers were still trapped inside the ship, which was even more embarrassing. The captain became the first to abandon ship and claimed he accidentally fell into the lifeboat. The Italian gut fee in charge of the rescue mission was dissatisfied with the actions of the captain, Catino. Never returned to the ship, and as many as 32 people eventually lost their lives. This incident caused the worst shipwreck of the century. Of course, this is a terrible event. But on the other hand, we see the extraordinary courage of the crew, except the attitude and behavior of the Costa Concordia, from their courage in driving away pirates with acoustic devices to their success in leading a rescue operation. Extraordinary incident in Antarctica. Back to the beginning, cruise ships are still safer than other types of transportation.